Alright, what's up everybody? It's Kami. Welcome back to episode 2 of Burning Down the House. You guys really liked the first episode. We didn't even plan on making it a podcast until we sat down to actually record it. It was just going to be a one-off video of me and Zipper talking, and then you guys ended up really liking it. So, we're back with more. This time we have xForts and my buddy Kaleb joining us today with Meti, Zipper, and Asuka like last time. So you guys can introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Caleb.
That's pretty weird.
My name is by Shimonetta. Shimonetta. It's funimation.com/show/Shimonetta.
It's time to stop.
My name's xForts, youtube.com/Shimonetta Trash. And
Oh my fucking god! Right out of the gate, ban, fucking ban.
alright, yo.
Alright, so like, we're talking about part 1. Which I wanted to talk about part 8, but Asuka's not caught up, so blame him on us not talking about part 8 right now because part 8 is really
You're
good.
not caught up?
He hasn't caught up.
not.
I caught up.
Next week.
He hasn't caught
Wait,
up.
this is
I
not
caught
bullying Asuka
up.
podcast.
No, we're not
right?
gonna bully him right now. We'll bully him about this after. Like as soon as we stop, you know,
God damn it.
we'll just start bullying him. But part 1 is really good. I think about a month ago we sat down in the Discord and the other one, and we rewatched part 1 on Crunchyroll. They have this little version that they call a re-edited one where they took out all of the little traveling scenes, pretty much, excluding a few, and they just got all of the key points of part 1 in it. So it's like a quick, I guess, overview summary. It's like an hour long. So it's like if you've already seen part 1, you kind of just want to refresh your mind. I guess you could go to that. That's what we did. And after we saw that, we kind of got this new appreciation for it, because I always liked part 1. Like it's what got me into JoJo. Like I saw like the first episode and I was like, holy shit, this is really good, and it caught my attention. It hooked me in. It did what it had to do. And after going back to it again, it just, you know, showed me again why I really liked it. It gave me a newfound appreciation for Dio, for Jonathan, because Jonathan is really cool. I guess we could start talking about Jonathan first, because I think a lot of people like Jonathan, or they dislike Jonathan for the wrong reasons, kind of how they do for like maybe Fugo or Trish, where people are like, they don't do anything. People complain about Jonathan, you know, being a punk, I guess, but they forget that he's a gentleman, and that's his character. It's like,
Yeah, no,
He's,
dude.
uh,
Jonathan's
it's his
just
time.
bad. He doesn't even have a stand.
yeah, dude. He doesn't have his punch.
I don't think a lot of people like dislike Jonathan. It's just, you know, he's always like the last on people's like top like JoJo list, just because he just doesn't. There's not enough of him compared to everyone else that we've seen. But I mean,
Well, I mean,
and also
does,
he doesn't have.
there may not be a lot of him, but he does a lot in his story.
Yeah, he does. But I mean, is he your favorite JoJo?
Well, no, I don't.
I want to say
no.
he's my favorite, but he's definitely not my least favorite. I can say that for sure.
I don't know. When I think of like all the other story arcs, it's like, oh well, do I really like you know, Jonathan more than like even like Joseph or like Giorno or something? It's like, but they did this, this, and this, and they had like this interaction, and everything with Jonathan was just like, yeah, it's everything Jonathan did compared to everything else.
It's
just,
also-
I don't know.
it's
I just don't think
also-
it stands.
It's one of those things where it's like it's a screen time issue, which is like when I talk about you know, why I don't like Cars. I always say, you know, if he had more screen time, I would like him, because like in his last couple of moments, I started to like him a little bit more. You know, he was kind of being, I guess, cooler to me, and more appealing. And you know, part 1 is like really short, especially if you're watching like the anime. It's only the first 9 episodes. So you can go by it really quick, and like I said, you know, there's also this re-edited version, which you can go back and watch after you've already seen it once, and it's like an hour long. So
You don't even need to read the manga because it's not even
Nope,
necessary.
nope.
Yeah, or you just watch it. Or
you
you
might
just
as
watch
well,
9 episodes.
you might
It's
as
not
well
that
just
bad.
watch it. I think
But,
it's a
I
better way
think-
to go through, you know, part 1 and 2 and 3. I'd say start reading
Yeah.
from like 4. You can watch the Diamond is Breakable anime too. It's like, you know, pretty good.
Yeah, but you should still read the
but
manga.
you should still read the manga. Part 4 is manga is really good, but like, I guess it's because part 1 is shorter, and Jonathan doesn't get all the, you know, I guess the same amount of screen time as everybody else, even though it's more of a thing of longevity instead of screen time, I guess, because, you know, it lasts longer, so you have more of it, because most of the time in part 1, it's always focused on Jonathan. It's always his thing, because it's his story, so he's always on the screen. There's never a moment where, you know, Jonathan isn't always doing something, or I guess you could say, you know, Dio is the one that has less screen time, although he gets a good amount of screen time too. It did enough to build up his character, which led to, you know, the stuff that happens in part 3, but
It's a personal hero's journey.
But I think Jonathan stands out, like, compared to other JoJo's, because, like, he's so noble, like, compared to, like, Giorno. Giorno's noble, but not, like, in a, like, traditional way. It's more, like, subtle. But Jonathan's like so. It's like so. I don't know. It's all the way up there. It's like 100% noble, you know.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
feel
like
you know,
Yeah,
oh, sorry.
No, you go.
Okay, so Jonathan by himself, I would think if he was to be compared to the other JoJos in general, but the one thing about Jonathan is that when he's noble, it's a kind of just brute force with the Jonathan. It's like because he doesn't try so hard to outthink the opponent or anything like that. It's just more of him being one-on-one fighting and all. And then there's like what was it, Giorno? He would do like there's certain things where he would be able to maneuver and be tactical about it, and just like and then Joseph is the smarter, like everyone likes to be more into the battle, but when you see Jonathan, it's just him being a good fighter by itself. He doesn't need anything else from that.
Yeah.
He's just being all experienced and all.
And also goes with the part 1 writing style, it being really old also, and coming out around the same time as like Fist of the North Star and taking inspiration from that. I guess it's just part of Araki's writing and how it's made its way to where it is now, where everything is more thought out. You have more strategic fights, like the part 8 fights in JoJo, right? It's like you have Josuke, and then you have stand user. You have Josuke versus a stand user, so he can get closer to achieving his goal. He's not necessarily always fighting them to beat the shit out of them and just win. He's fighting them to achieve his goal. You get people like I guess Jotaro, who's really quiet and observant in his fights, and he hits hard, but he pays attention, and when he sees an opening, he hits. You have Josuke, who does the same thing, I guess, as Joseph to an extent, and you have like Jolene and Giorno, where they're both really smart and attentive. I don't think that it's fair to say Jonathan isn't smart, because like you look at his fight with Bruford, when he's fighting him under water, and he like starts conducting a Hamon and shit. I wouldn't say it's fair to not say he's not as smart, or like his fight with Tarkus, I guess, where there's a bit more adaptation in his fighting style.
The way Jonathan approaches everything is the way he believes a gentleman should. A gentleman should approach everything with courage, even if his opponent is bigger and he knows he's going to lose. He always views himself as you can't back down or retreat, or because that's the thing that separated him and Joseph the most, is Joseph could be a big poo-poo coward.
Yeah, and he runs away.
Yeah, and that's his form of fighting, where Jonathan would never think of using cowardice or lying to win a battle.
Cheap trick or something. Yeah, he's not gonna like sit around and try to ball you
and like
out
we even
like
have
Joseph would.
like Jonathan actively cares about the people he's fighting too. He doesn't kill anyone out of hatred. In fact, one of the best scenes in Phantom Blood is when he beats Dio and then he cries.
Yeah. Or even in his fight with Bruford after, and he gets like the sword from him and shit. It's just like, well.
Yeah, like when Bluford took like a giant swing at him, like Jonathan didn't even try to protect himself because he knew that he was gonna stop, so he could just like see it. Like there was a line he said like Bruford felt different there, and then everyone like Speedwagon was like Jonathan, why aren't you defending yourself? And then like as soon as he hits his cheek, he just stops. Then they just have that talk. So.
That fight is actually, it's low-key really underrated.
Yeah,
Because that whole thing that's where, okay, let me put the picture in the chat. That's where, okay, so everybody has their own little, like, line, basically, inside of JoJo and all that. So it's like, okay, example, like, Josuke's if I heal you up first, and then, what is it? If
I heal you first, then it's not cheating.
It's not coward. Yeah, exactly. And after that, Jonathan had his whole thing, my heart resonates. Like, and then, like, when he was... Okay, so like you see all the Hamon and like everything's going around him. He's feeling powerful. Like that's probably one of the hypest moments I've seen from Jonathan.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Is that picture from his fight with Doobie?
It's from from Bruford.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's before the Sunlight Yellow Overdrive.
Yeah.
That's another thing I like about Jonathan.
As Johnny Young Bosch would say, my heart is ablaze.
Yeah. Good voice actor, but I don't think it fits the character. But the thing I like a lot about Jonathan, and this is like one of those just little small details, I guess, is that he has this old trope of naming his attacks just on the spot. It kind of reminds me of
They all make sense though. They all make sense. Like turquoise blue overdrive. Like he's underwater. Well, I mean turquoise blue. I don't know, but I don't know. They all definitely have a theme in like the they're all kind of based off like kind of like elemental, whatever
Yeah, he
kind of
has the
situation
one,
he's in.
for his like sword and shit. It's dope. It gives me that. It kind of reminds me of the time in the World Tournament arc in Dragon Ball where Hercule goes to like do this move in a fight, and he has this like one like punch that he does, and every single time they ask him and they interview him about the like move or whatever, he always comes up with a new name on the spot. It kind of just reminds me of that little silly aspect to it, I guess. And no, I can't hear Zipper. Discord is being really weird. I can't hear Zipper, but he'll be all right. Zipper, talk. Okay, let me refresh Discord. Things happen, boys. Okay, we should be good now. Zipper.
God damn it.
Oh, okay. Wait, what the fuck?
Is he talking?
Zipper.
Zipper? His
All
thing
right,
is like
I'm getting
listen,
mind game. Hold on.
it's lit up, but I can't.
Yeah.
This shit is a fucking mess.
Rest in
Technical
Zipper.
difficulties.
Well, since
You're
yeah,
gonna
you
play a little
can't
song
do
there.
shit about it, dude. Rest in Zipper. Speaking of Zipper, since
Oh.
you know it's R.I.P. Zipper right now.
I just heard him.
Dire. Oh, there we
Oh,
go.
everyone deserves to die. Oh, yeah.
We can hear
There
him.
you go.
That's what Meti said. Actually, the best scene in part 1 was Dire versus Dio.
Yes. Yes.
Let's not go to
Let's talk
Dire.
about
Let's-
Dire.
let's-
It's
Let's
really
talk about Dire.
funny.
If we're moving on from Jonathan,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
go
we'll
on
move
to
on. All right,
let's go on to
Let's go on
Zeppeli.
to
Yeah, we can go. Yeah, Zeppeli.
Oh, Dire?
dude. Okay, Dire's introduction
Or no.
is,
God damn it.
hey, watch this. Let me jump up into the sky and try to dive kick you. It's like, oh, you dodged the move.
Perfect attack.
Nobody's ever done that. Wow, I respect you. Hey, my name is Dire. I'm a Hamon master. How are you today? It's like, what?
It wasn't really like that. He was like, oh, I wanted to see how much you learned from Zeppeli, and then like Tom Petty and Straight show up, and they're like, yes, like you're, Zeppeli's apprentice or whatever he was, and they're like, all right, we're here to help. It wasn't really random, like
It's the way
they knew who he
know.
was. They knew
It's
who he
so
was by
odd,
name.
though. That's
mean,
like,
it's just weird. Like I
Zeppeli
guess it's
dies,
just
and
JoJo.
the
But
three wise men of Hamon show up.
yeah.
I kind of like Dire's
Can we
introduction
talk
because
about
like
how
before you know who he is, it's like is he a vampire? Like, oh, this guy kind of looks like a badass, and then he jumps up and does like his kick thing, and then you see Tom Petty come out, and it's pretty hype. But
Actually,
Dire
with
had a good
Thunder
introduction.
split attack, I'll get it right.
Okay.
yeah,
So,
the cross foot attack. That's the best move in all of JoJo, hands down.
yo, wait. Okay, so for Dire, right? Like, literally his whole thing is like, oh, no one ever has gone past this. He's used it 2 times that we see. He used it 2 times, and he got blown away in both.
Yeah,
Like,
this is so called
Dude,
perfect
is Dire
attack.
is Dire's ability the fucking Emerald Splash of part 1?
yes.
No,
Game theory?
Oh my god.
There's
At least Kakuin hit Emerald Splash when he had to.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
hit people. Dire never hit anybody that we see.
Dire
It's
was
oh,
like,
yeah,
hey
I
guys,
hit
I'm
people.
totally a Hamon master.
No,
Jonathan,
guys,
I
he
understand
played
this.
me
You
up.
have a grudge against this guy. I understand he killed your dad. I understand, you know, it's his fault that Zeppeli's dead, but I'm gonna go fight this guy because I hate him more than you. Oh shit, I died. But hey, my head is still here. I don't have lungs, so I can't breathe and do Hamon, but I can still infuse the rose of Hamon, right?
Go get him, JoJo.
Wink.
It's
Yeah,
so,
Dire's
dude,
a good JoJo.
It's so
If
dope.
you-
Anyway, we should
wanna
talk about
see,
Speedwagon.
If you want to see Dire in his peak, play the JoJo's Part 1 video game.
Yeah,
I'm
but
actually gonna
God.
go play that later probably and get footage. of
It's
that
so
for this-
bad.
For this, xForts,
one
tell me about
character
it.
just has a giant axe. I can't remember who it is though.
Oh my god.
Dude, fucking Speedwagon's special move is spinning around with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Isn't there like 30 versions
What is
of Jonathan
Dire
in that
wearing?
game? Like they have like
I get that
have, like-
JoJo has weird fucking character like designs. What the fuck is Dire wearing?
dude, I swear he has like spaghetti straps on like his shirt or something. Dire's outfit is weird.
He uses something to propel himself and levitate himself in his slow motion kick.
Hamon.
Yeah, no, fuck you. It's
Hey,
not.
hey guys, look, I can
Hamon
move.
is literally a do anything ability. Like literally
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
Iraqi wanted to do, he'd be like, oh Hamon, like I punched you, you melted. Hamon, like I touched this, it doesn't work. Hamon, I'm gonna like collect these leaves and fly around in the sky. Hamon, like
That's
just like
So,
whatever you
I'm
want.
gonna
That
take your hair
diagram
and make a
was-
shield out of it. Come on. Like
I
in
wanna
part
make
2,
myself
yeah.
food from the inside.
That's a good diaphragm. Yeah, Joseph. Hey, look, I took Stroheim's hair. I'm gonna conduct it with Hamon and make it really hard so I can block
That
bullets.
made no sense. Oh my god. Anyway.
That's a feat. If we be honest. But I just love that Dyer has like this big build-up and like he gasses himself up so much. He's like, yeah, nigga, I'm the shit. And then he goes to fight Dio, and he has this really good technique of being able to move fast enough to make after images of himself, right? This nigga's moving like faster than light at that point, I'd assume. He's moving really fast. And then he just jumps up and loses all of that momentum. It's like, well, maybe if you kept your after images and you hit, like, you know, try to hit Dio.
That's where he stores them. He stores them in his legs, so he splits you open in a fucking breakneck piece.
But it's like he just has this super slow motion, like dive kick, and Dio literally just separates his legs and freezes his ass into pieces.
I think that's part of the move. Like he wants you to grab your legs so like he can. So you can't block his like hands though, because the same thing happened with Jonathan too.
Yeah, that worked really well, huh?
Yeah, and then until Dio was like, "Hey, look, I can freeze you at point blank range, LMAO re," and he froze him.
It's so you saw when it happened though, right? When he actually like Dio grabbed his leg and split them wide open. Dyer, he was like, "Oh shit, wait!" And then he's like, "Ha, I got you, fool." After that, he was like continue to go in even though he was scared as shit. And then he got body.
Dyer gets to Dio's head and stops.
Yeah, he just.
my man was shook. You know, I'm that close to Dio. I'd be a little shook too.
No, wait, this isn't my story. And then lets Dio defeat him. Dyer is the real hero.
Speedwagon talk now. Speedwagon.
Speedwagon?
Sure?
Oh, dude, Speedwagon is the best right-hand man to ever exist in like.
Actually, Speedwagon trash. Get out.
Huh? Huh? Bad bait, but no. Speedwagon. They introduced him as a street thug, but he's still like a gentleman. And then John.
Dude, I love how quickly Speedwagon, like literally like flipping the light switch, he literally devotes his life to.
Or a fucking Speedwagon is the quickest face turn in anything I've ever seen. It is in the span of a kick.
He's literally just like, oh, you don't smell like a bad guy? Hey, I'll come join you on your noble quest.
No, he doesn't join him. He devotes his life.
I'll do anything for you, Jonathan.
God, protects his family, everybody.
I have gotten a doctorate in multiple degrees just so your family can never go hungry.
Yeah.
Because you kicked me kind of soft.
But really, other than that, Speedwagon's only there to explain things. Like, he doesn't really...
Even Speedwagon
is probably the most important character in JoJo.
Oh, he's one of the most important... Yeah, he's definitely one of the most important characters of Phantom Blood. Because, you know, Speedwagon Foundation, but...
Without him, Joseph would be dead. God
Without
damn it,
him, a lot of things in JoJo wouldn't go the way they do. Because Speedwagon Foundation is involved in, like, literally everything.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest
Except
things.
Except for
Rest in peace.
Yeah, but it's fine, because Giorno doesn't need Speedwagon Foundation.
He's balling.
He doesn't got time to wait.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
They
it would have been cool.
out
It would have been
Savage
cool
Garden.
if in that scene with the 100 cars, if it would have been like the Speedwagon Foundation came in 100 different cars and separated. That would have been like, okay, that's kind of cool. That could have worked.
Yeah, but he would have. That means Giorno would have too many connections. Like that would really make sense.
Yeah. That would
But
Speedwagon is great. He's like the perfect wingman, dude. He doesn't question shit.
So...
And I just love
his
the scene
fucking
with...
hat goes to the bone in Jonathan's arm, and he's gleeful about it.
Dude,
and then he gets kicked.
And then he gets kicked, and he's like, "Oh shit, you're not a bad person." It's like, well,
Guys,
I'm sorry for just trying to kill you just now and trying to mug you, but you're a cool guy.
You've came to the wrong street there, lad.
Good show.
Speedwagon's the original spin user?
Dude, Speedwagon was the original spin user. Did you see how he has that Kung Lao hat? Amazing.
Dude, I also love the scene where he's like winded and Zeppeli and Jonathan's like, "What are you doing?" Speedwagon asked me to give him Hamon, so I've been trying for hours.
He said, "No, I messed up and I hit him too hard or something." Speedwagon's really fucking like dying on the floor.
I feel like at that point, Will was just messing with him. It's like,
no, Speedwagon was really in pain. Like he had like his pinky out, like when he gave it to Jonathan, he was like, "I think I hit him in the wrong part or something."
It's
Dude,
like, let me hit the main character.
Speedwagon to turn on.
Let me hit the main character perfectly.
He helped heal Zeppeli's arm after it got
which is
Well, he uses his body heat to do that.
Yeah,
He,
like, he just like grabs him and starts like steaming, and he's like,
Or
Speedwagon.
another really cool part about Speedwagon is just the subtle hat change that he goes through,
yeah.
where he takes on
Go from
Zeppeli's
being
hat.
Cum laude to taking the hat.
It's
It could
fucking
have been a
great.
lot more useful if he actually had his combat hat, but
It's great,
Nah, dude,
man.
he has the combat sledgehammer who defeats the stone mask.
Yeah, dude.
he does. Yeah, that's true.
I just love when he shows up in the very beginning of Phantom Blood at the mansion with the cops, and he's like, "Hold on, don't move," and he just has a gun pointed at like Dio and shit. He's like, "Jonathan, don't listen to anything he has to say." It's like, okay, so where did he come from? How did he just pull up out of nowhere? He's just right there, and then my boy's like he's out with them dicks. Like, he's out here, dude. Speedwagon is the best right hand man you could ever ask for. He doesn't question you. He shows up with the
Speedwagon
guns out,
execution.
ready, holding it at this dude's head like, "I'll shoot," and
Or like,
he shoots Dio. Like, that's the raw shit. Like, understood he got his arm broken by getting like the leg tossed at him or whatever when Dio freaking decapitated,
turned
like,
into
one
the
dude
vampire.
and
Yeah.
did all like crazy shit. But it's like Speedwagon would never, like, even when he's afraid, Speedwagon doesn't hesitate to do anything.
even
Jonathan
Speedwagon was afraid.
Jonathan has so much hesitation in shooting Dio. Speedwagon literally just comes out of nowhere, grabs the trigger, and just pulls it like point blank range right to his forehead. It's great.
Like, I always loved that the line that even Speedwagon is afraid isn't a narrator bubble. It isn't a thought bubble. It is a text bubble that Speedwagon is saying.
Yeah,
This dude.
it's just
God.
great. It's like even after he becomes a gentleman, he's just so fearless and he's such a goon. Like, Speedwagon is
Yeah.
literally the best right hand man you could ask for. Look, I'm gonna become
And-
rich to help your family
Yeah,
for
he
hundreds
is.
of years later on. And not
Another
question
great
it.
part about him is his name is only kept around in the dub and the translation in the subs because REO Speedwagon, the band, took the name from a
Copyright.
truck. And so, REO Speedwagon can't sue JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because if they sue JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the truck company can sue them.
God.
That's
More you know.
amazing. The Speedwagon is
God
great.
bless.
Can we get a Speedwagon?
No, we're not doing
Speedwagon.
That's one of my
There you
favorite
go.
lines out of part 2.
Zeppeli? You know Zeppeli?
Oh, Zeppeli.
Yeah,
is great.
Zeppeli, sure.
I would argue to say he's the best, but Gyro's the thing. And my only argument for saying he's the best is right off the bat, he doesn't need any character development, right? He's a grown-ass man, so you don't have to worry about giving him
He
too
is
much.
more than a grown-ass
Like,
man. He's a
he's
50-year-old.
All right, he's ready. At the point they introduce him, he's like, "Hey, I'm a Hamon master. I'm gonna teach you Hamon so you can go beat the bad guys," right? And he has this like father-like mentor figure to his character, and there's not much else that you really have to do. Like, the character's well written enough to the point where you don't have to explain a lot, and he can kind of just do things without you really questioning them. But at the same time, they leave you with enough, I guess, vagueness in his character where you might question a couple things here and there, but for the most part, everything works. It makes sense. He's really strong. He's really cool. He's got a great design. I actually really like his design. Out of the 3 Zeppelis, I think he has my favorite design. But he's really cool. I like him.
Will Zeppeli's a thought patrol dude?
Yeah.
Nice.
Except Caesar. Caesar wasn't a Thought Patrol. He was with the Thoughties.
Yeah, he allowed thoughts in his life.
He was with the Thoughties.
He is a
you know?
thought.
Dude, he used his kiss to hypnotize Thought.
Todd?
I can't fucking...
It's Tater Thoughts. There you go.
Dude, Joseph versus Caesar, Tater Tot fight.
Yeah, dude. He also got Thought Pockets and Thotimus Prime.
Dude, can we talk about how Dire should have become the immortal vampire instead of Straits?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
That
I
would've
forgot
been
they did that. It's like, hey, look, I'm Strazo. I'm a Hamon user. Oh wait, I'm gonna become a vampire. Come back later. And
Well, that's the whole reason why he became a Hamon master was because he was afraid of like death. He was like afraid of growing old. So like he became the Hamon master, but then when he started getting older, he realized that this doesn't completely stop aging. It just like
That
puts it off
Dio
a
was
while.
beautiful.
And then he said like, I would rather live forever and know that I'm gonna go to hell than die and go to heaven at a young age. So
Well, he also pulls this fucking bullshit later on as well, where he's like, "No, you see, Joseph, I didn't do this because of that. I had a quick rush of like this adrenaline. I loved it, but then I realized I needed to make sure you were ready for the Pillar Men."
Straits is good. I like Straits a lot.
I like his design. I think his design
Yeah, I
is
like
like
his design,
really
too.
well made. Like he has this just like, I don't know, I guess vampiric look to him.
Yeah,
Beautiful
definitely.
man.
He's got the long flowing hair. I love when he's on
Long,
the bridge
yeah, exactly.
and he's holding the chick, and Joseph is like, I don't even know her. Oh, that's a good line.
Yeah, I'm good for. After that tooth.
And he's like,
He's
oh.
like, oh shit, I kind of care.
He's like, oh.
God.
But
Yeah,
Straits
Straits is a great character.
My thing with part 1 is I think a lot of like the side characters, since there's not a lot of characters that, compared to other parts where they have, you know, a bunch of stand users and like a bunch of other goons that are with the villain, and then you have a bunch of main characters. Part 1, since it has less, they have more time to focus on what's there, and since it's the first part of the series, Rocky's able to explain a lot of things in a short amount of time and leave you with very few questions until you get to the end, and then you question the coffins and shit. But like for the most part,
No, you don't
everything
question the
works.
coffins until part 3.
Yeah,
Yeah, one of my
Also,
favorite things
I
about
say,
part 1.
for the most part, everything works in part 1. It's like you can't
One
really.
of the best things about it is when like they all confront Dio in like episode 8, yeah, and like they literally have like the most fucked crew in all of JoJo. Like it's Jonathan, Speedwagon, 3 Hamon masters, fucking Dire Straits, and Tom Petty, like the top of everything. And I'm pretty sure like it's like
There was, like, that
Poco and his
little kid,
sister
but-
are there too.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, little Tom Sawyer.
Yep.
Dude was so ready.
Because
yeah, Poco was like a main character. Originally, Poco was evil because he was hypnotized at first because he stole all their money.
yeah.
It was the first time that we
and
saw
then they
Hamon.
like got him, and he was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we saw like Jonathan be like a beast with Hamon because like he started running across the water, and like he like concentrated it in his hand, and like Poco was like climbing up like a rock wall, and Jonathan like punched it, and then William looks at him and he goes like, nice Hamon, and he's like, yeah, thanks, and then it like blasts Poco down, he catches him, and and Jonathan just like looks at Poco and he's like, oh, you were just hypnotized, you're a good person. It's like, what?
Yeah.
But then
Dude,
Poco
he's
just
that
He's just a
scene
little
in the
boy. He's
abridged-
good.
That
Got
scene
it.
in the abridged series was fucking great.
I have the I have a note tag. Stan's ruined JoJo. Bring Hamon back.
Please, yes.
Yeah, dude. Hashtag make JoJo great again.
For me to be Tom Sawyer, my father would have to be a drunk and a racist.
Oh my god.
Okay, a
my God.
racist.
Oh, is this
That
Speaking-
part when
game?
they're running across the water too is a good representation of how like how Jonathan isn't as good as William, because he was like just tiptoeing across it, and Jonathan was kind of like knee. They didn't like
He
mention
was
it.
he was ankle deep about.
Yeah.
William said something like you're like you have to get better with Hamon if you want to be able to not get your knees wet or something. I thought
Yeah.
that was cool.
He says something like that. And speaking
I
of Poco,
fucking- Caesar, fucking William Zeppeli tiptoeing across the water is the funniest fucking
He
thing.
makes noises when he goes to. He's like, "Toot, toot, toot, toot."
like I said, like his character is just so pleasing. I don't know if it's
He's a
Yes.
great mentor.
I love
dude.
William.
it's a
great.
factor of like maybe just the old school style of it where they just do these goofy little things, and these characters have these like little quirks to just make you love them. But he's like
Also, like a
He's
little
worse.
tidbit that a lot of people don't point out about Caesar later on is that his bubble cutter is in reference to William's
William
fucking-
spitting the wine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Don't forget
But
about.
yeah, one thing I
don't
like
forget
about William
the
too,
big
compared to
bad
like Caesar, like Caesar's always trying to look cool. Like the first like one of the scenes we see him in, like he jumps really high using Hamon into the chair and like lands. He's always trying to like be impressive, especially around girls. Like William doesn't care. He's just being him. Like
He's a
whoever's there,
third
whoever's
class.
there to admire
Caesar's
is there.
like 19 years old. He's like, I gotta get all the bitches, and William is just like, I'm a grown ass man. I don't care. Come on, JoJo.
Dude, Caesar was like anti-thought patrol, and that's disgusting, honestly.
Yeah, he was with the thoughts, dude.
What a failure as a son.
Speaking about thoughts, we have Poco's sister. It gets abducted for like 5 seconds, and then there's Doobie, and Doobie's
Oh my
like
God.
the greatest thing ever. All right, so a lot of people don't remember Doobie.
know
Doobie's
why
the
you like
guy
Doobie.
with like the really weird mask over his face. When he pulls it off, he looks extremely ugly, and he has a bunch of snakes in his head, and he fights by attacking with the venomous snakes inside of his head, which is like, why does this guy have venomous snakes inside his head? He's a vampire. It's weird. But he's trying
It's
to get
because
Poco's
Dio
sister.
is fucking going all like chimera on everything.
Yeah.
Everything was like getting like
Dio
spliced and
is
shit.
the weirdest fucking dude, because apparently vampire blood means you can do whatever you want with the human body.
Yeah,
Another-
remember the little monkeys?
Yeah, he would cut people's heads
Remember
off,
the
put them
dog
on monkeys for no reason.
Oh
Dude,
god,
the
they're so
dogs?
creepy.
The human dogs, yeah.
It was weird, but like
So
you have Doobie attacking Poco's sister, and then Jonathan just comes and throws an anvil at him. It's like, okay.
And what about the one time when Dio was up on top of like that huge rock when he sent Tarkus and Buford at everyone, and he literally just says like, "All right, I'm out," and he just like
He
all
turned into
vampire
dust.
like literally just turns to dust. and
Yeah,
just
he
fucking-
vanishes.
and he
fades
never
away.
does it again.
It makes no sense.
He literally
He
just
never does it
vanishes.
again.
It's like so.
Wait, you're telling me that Dio used a power he never uses?
He just
What
goes
game
turns to dust.
Eye lasers.
Did he have the world?
He uses the lasers a good.
He does
Hold
it.
on.
He does it again.
You want to know another power for that? Like another power that Dio just stopped using altogether? Okay, so you remember, what is it? How he wanted Poco's sister, right?
Yeah.
He got, what is it called? What was it? Jack the Ripper? And he
Yeah,
hypnotized Jack the Ripper, right? And he doesn't hypnotize anyone after, like, that was...
Well, no,
that-
he turns Jack the Ripper into a zombie.
He turns Jack the Ripper to a zombie, but I think the only other person he might have hypnotized, maybe after, or it might have been before, was Wang
He's
Chen.
used hypnosis
Yeah, he uses hypnosis
multiple
all the
times.
time with his flesh bulbs. But what he did with Jack the Ripper is he turned him into a zombie. When a vampire sucks your blood, you turn into its zombie, or its thrall. The only way you become a main vampire is if you use the mask.
Oh, wait, no, like, I mean, like, the eye vision thing. He was like,
Yeah,
oh...
he has hypnosis
yes.
where you can just look at people
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
just
yeah.
become hypnotized.
and they
Oh,
just
okay.
turn, yeah.
Which
and he
I'd
didn't use-
assume in the scene where, because since we're going to talk about Dio now, I guess we'll segue into that. The scene where
Yeah.
Dio is talking to like the lady with her baby, and he's like, I'm not going to do anything to your kid, but it's either we get rid of you or you become a vampire. And she has this like super despair look on her face. She's like crying her eyes out and shit. And it's just Dio being like a big fuckhead and being an asshole. But I don't know if it was part of hypnosis, I guess, or just, Dio persuading her and her just going insane and having like a mental breakdown and just, going with it anyways. But like, he kind of gives her this like look and he kind of just smirks with it and she's just like stuck staring at him. I don't know if he hypnotized her at that moment.
I'm pretty sure he sucks her blood.
Oh,
Yeah, he
God.
turned her into a vampire, and not that she fucking ate the baby.
No,
Yeah, and then
zombie,
she
not
ate the
a
baby.
vampire.
Zombie.
Zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
she eats the baby. And that scene is like, ooh.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
It got real
Oh,
dark real
this
quick,
one-
but I can't say like it.
And
I mean, of
people
course,
say that Dio Brando is a good
in
person.
a normal situation, right? Like it would bother me. Like if I were to see some shit like that happen, like in real life, I'm gonna be mentally scarred for the rest of my life. But I don't know if it's part
I
of the
like
cool
younger
factor.
Dio a lot though.
I don't know
Younger
if it's
Dio's-
part
I
of like the cool factor.
Yeah, we might as
of
well
Dio.
just jump to the Dio part of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so
We're
we'll
already
start
talking
with-
about him.
The
Dio
best
didn't do
scene with
nothing.
Dio is the first
Yeah,
dinner
yeah,
with
yeah.
Jonathan.
No, he's
and
a dog
Asuka,
killer.
Dio in part 1 is the evilest Dio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the best Dio.
Cause
Yeah,
this
but
is part one,
evilest
Dio.
The fucking scummiest of them all.
This is part one, Dio. All right. He's like, okay, I'm going to ruin your shit. Yeah, we can hear you, Zipper. You're just like really quiet. But he's like, I'm gonna ruin your shit and be better than you just because I can, and I don't like you, and I want to be better than you, and I want to be the best at everything. And he's just a
wait,
big
first of
asshole.
all, how dumb is George in the first
Yeah.
episode?
He is
Literally like
fucking
ripping, like he's like talking out loud, super loud, like, "Oh, I'm gonna steal all your stuff. Give me this pocket watch." And he literally just opened his eyes. Like when I first watched that, I was like,
My
"Oh, George is
God.
about to do
Are-
something,
are
like
you
hit this guy or
saving
something."
me?
But George, like at first I thought like, "Oh, you're being like sarcastic, George, and you're trying to like pull one over on this guy." But George was dead ass.
Yeah,
Shit,
George
he
was
was
like,
good.
all right, here you go. I was like, what?
Oh
Yeah,
my
he-
God, you're saving me.
Like
That's
I understand.
He's so happy.
I understand
Oh,
you
real
owe
quick.
this kid a lot, and you owe this kid's family a lot, but it's like he just came in, kicked your son's dog, started yelling
He
at your
doesn't
son,
owe
started
his-
yelling at you.
Like him
Like,
yelling
oh.
is what woke George up because he yelled and he said like, "No, there's nothing in this that we can steal. It's just an old mask." And then George grabs him by the wrist and he's like,
No. What happens is fucking Dio's mom is like, "Oh, there's a baby," and he's like, "Let the baby die.
"Yeah."
I'm robbing this man."
Guys, why did Dio never use Space River stinging guys in stop time?
You're right.
Yeah.
Rocky, come on.
Wait, you mean Space Ripper Sting Eyes? You mean like in part 3? Okay, wait. Okay, like putting it there. The thing is about Dio. He said he was getting like it's in this book. I forgot the fucking name of it.
What the
Over
Dio
Heaven?
over heaven?
Yeah. In his book, he's like literally page by page. He's telling you how far he's getting away from his original vampire powers. Like he can't use his because apparently the bot like even when in the fight with Jotaro, he's like the body isn't fully mine. Even after he sucks Joseph's blood, it still isn't his. And I'm just like that's a long ass time to fucking use the body. But still, it's like he can't use his frozen. He can't use his freezing abilities. He can't use his stingy eyes. Like that's the main thing. It's not his yet.
Yeah,
One
good.
of the most logical explanations on why Dio doesn't use any vampire powers, like none in part 3, except for just being immortal, is because like once Stan's got introduced to Rocky, wanted people to be able to get into JoJo straight from part 3, and so the easiest way to do that was to not like. Obviously, he did a pretty good job of it. That's why there was like no talk of Caesar, no flashbacks with Joseph or anything like that. Like no flashbacks at all with Joseph. We get like one reference to his past or something.
Yep.
And that's also why there's no vampire powers, because like someone who picks up
but
at
why
part
do
3,
they explain it
they
as
get to
Ghost
the last.
Hamon,
Well,
They still don't use Hamon as much as like they.
though? No. Why, when Joseph is explaining Stan for the first time, does he use the term Ghost Hamon?
Oh.
Well, isn't that like a translation?
That's a
thing?
translation thing, isn't it?
You might say like ghost like fighting energy or like life spirit, because like Lulu life spirit and Hamon and Ripple are all like the same thing.
Yeah.
But isn't it explained that Dio can't use like vampire powers because it's like Jonathan's body?
Yeah.
That's
another
like
thing.
that's like a story way to explain
His-
it, but like it would make no sense if someone started at part 3 and got all the way to the end, and then it's like, oh, Dio has this like crazy
Just
ass stand.
stingy eyes.
Then like
Yeah.
he started like using eye powers, they'd be like, oh, is this like part of the world or something? Like
Well, then they should.
it'd be a little confusing. I know they should
That's
start
a
at part
really-
1, but
that's a very lame excuse to stop writing Dio's character, writing with Dio's powers, in my
well, it,
opinion.
like explains why there's no like flashbacks to anything with Joseph.
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
anything.
and I
They
get
didn't
that,
ever
Well,
mention
but
part
that's
2.
still a
I
really
think they
weak.
never mentioned it
That's a
because Park
weak.
was bad and nobody cares about it.
Yeah.
True.
That's still a weak excuse, and I'll give a Rocky the credit. Oh yeah, part 3 is the pinnacle JoJo part. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but
It's definitely
It's
the peak
still-
for a lot of people, because
Like even
especially
in the
here
English
America,
volumes, like
yeah.
every or at least in volume 1 of Stardust Crusaders, it literally gives you like a 6-page thing that Araki wrote specifically for the beginning of Stardust Crusaders. That was like, all right, you're caught up. Here you go. Like jump in.
well,
Yeah.
yes, I know. But what I'm saying is, it's still kind of dumb.
It is.
It's a weak. I get it's an excuse. It's an excuse to not write Dio as powerful as he should be at that time, especially when and I know in Over Heaven gives us even more explanations / excuses for these power things. It's still they're still excuses,
Yeah.
I think the best way and the most justified excuse.
and some people would
they
argue even if
use,
Over Heaven is canon.
like the
we
most.
should probably go back to the Phantom Blood. We're kind of like
Yeah.
talking about
Nah,
Over
I
Heaven.
think
especially.
like the most justified excuse out of that also is in part 1, and you know they like kind of touch upon this later, I guess. Since Dio has his body, he has full control over his body. He knows how everything works, which is why in part 1, you know, he's such a menace with his vampire powers. He understands how to
Well,
work himself. He understands, hey, look, I can freeze you at like point blank range if I like, you know, touch you here. You know, I can like stick my fingers into your neck and just start sucking your blood out directly and make you weak as shit. You know, I can do all these vampire things. I'll walk, you know, up the walls by digging my feet into them. I'll hiss. I can throw somebody at a bunch of other people so hard
Hard
that
as shit.
his body
so you're saying
just
with,
like
with Jonathan's body, he's not familiar with it. to
disembodies
use
and
his
shit.
powers.
Yeah.
Just goes
But the thing is, when
Yeah,
he was when they were on the boat, he was literally just ahead, and he was able to use his eye powers like perfectly fine.
yeah.
yeah,
like,
and also
It wouldn't make a problem with a new body. Like just
that's
just
also not the first time he does that when he's just ahead. When he's also falling from his
Yeah, yeah.
castle, the like last thing he does before you know his head just
that was a
disappears until the
powerful
end
ass beam.
is
Dude.
he
That thing-
shoots the eye beam and it literally like slices like the top of the castle and like a mountain in the distance, like just by like the middle, and it just like.
How about
slices
Blueford?
down.
When Blueford attacked Jonathan for the first time and sliced, he literally Jonathan avoided it, but it cut a mountain in half behind him, like
Yeah.
a small mountain. It's like, how strong is this dude? Not that strong apparently.
And
Not
also,
that
don't
strong.
forget that with other characters later on who become vampires, it's fucking instant that their body changes.
Yeah. So, you guys want to move on to Dark Knights, Tarkus, Blueford?
We can talk more about Dio for a second.
I think we covered like Bluebird.
I want to say Dio's introduction when he becomes a vampire is one of the best scenes in all of JoJo. As in, like,
my favorite one is when he comes out of the car and he like literally, like, you'd think he would just step out, but like,
No,
yeah,
he,
it's
like,
dramatic
jumps
when he
out.
jumps out. He literally chucks his suitcase on the ground, like just throws it, and then he
Just
just
fucking throws it, and then.
Yeah.
Dude, is
He was
that
great.
Araki telling us over heaven?
Oh my god.
It's crazy.
But like, I think when he gets shot or whatever, and he falls out of the window, and like everybody's like, "Oh, where did he go?" And, you know, like the mask isn't there and shit, and like everything's like all weird and spooky. Like that scene right there, I think is one of the best JoJo scenes, like just in my opinion. But
yeah.
it's at that moment, you know, Dio becomes this big threat, and it's very, you know, obvious later on he's like a big threat because at the end of the day, a lot of the things that happen in JoJo all tie back to Dio influencing somebody. That's what I like the most about him. That's why he's my favorite villain. I want to say he's the best written. And it's not that he's like.
Oh no,
written
his
poorly or
writing
anything.
is fine.
Um,
Dio is
but-
unfairly the best written villain in JoJo
It's
because
his
he
influence.
has like 5 parts.
It's his influence. Like his influence literally affects everything up until, you know, part 6, and even in part 7, there's Diego, which is you know
One
ultimate
thing-
Dio.
they're, like,
Dio, though,
different.
you never. It's hard to get inside his head because with like other villains, like sometimes they do feel like other, especially with like Funny Valentine, like they feel other things. Like, but you know what Dio's thinking. You know he's just
Yeah,
evil. There's
Dio's
no
like,
chance of a change of heart.
I
or
gotta be
anything.
Well,
strong.
no, he's not just evil.
Domination,
His entire goal and purpose is to give everyone the perfect world. So he's not completely evil. Like
Well-
Phantom Blood Dio is insane at the time.
He's the most. He's the
beginning.
most evil.
His perfect
Literally,
world is different from
he
most.
becomes a
No, his
vampire.
perfect world is everyone has their fate spelled out for them.
Like, he becomes a vampire, and the first thing you see this guy do is take 2 of his fingers and literally scoop half of this guy's head off of like his body.
Now that's a bit of an adrenaline rush. He's
Like,
he's going a little power
that
crazy.
shit was great. All right, I think that's
Dude,
one of the best JoJo scenes. Like that whole entire sequence, him picking up the guy after, and you know throwing his body at everybody, literally making all of their like arms and legs fly off, breaking Speedwagon's arm with somebody's like like torn off leg and shit. It's amazing. Like
Yeah, and he
It's
pays
great.
for he pays the price for his fucking
And,
like
like-
batshit insanity.
it really reminds you, like, you know, hey, look, Dio's crazy, and I love that so much about him. Like, you know, going off
Here's
of Phantom
100
Blood for a
years at the bottom
second,
of the ocean.
we go to Stardust Crusaders in the Jotaro fight. He does some of like the most bizarre shit. Like people just like maybe overlook it. I guess it's like Dio's really a crazy guy. All right, the last thing he does to Jotaro before you know he dies, aside from the blood getting shot into his face, is he stops time, looks around the entire town because you know this guy can just fly around and shit. He picks up a road roller and slams it on this guy.
A road roller.
Like
I think that's more of a that's more of a Rocky's head than Dio's though.
it's just it's so great.
That's
Like
odd,
he's so
though.
crazy. He's like, hey, look, part 1, I'm just gonna kill everybody. Look, I'm gonna scoop this guy's head off with 2 of my fingers. I'm gonna make a woman eat her baby. And then part 3, you just have Dio come back again with some crazy shit. It's like it's so hard to not like Dio. Like Dio doesn't have to be your favorite, and you know all that. But like, it's so hard to not like
Dio's
him.
good. Dio's good.
It's so
Man,
One
hard
thing
to
yeah,
not
about
like
yeah,
him.
yeah.
Phantom Blood animation wise, like I kind of wish they really dropped it in part 4,
In
but
part
they really
4,
did
yeah.
do a lot in part 2 and 3. Like the really dramatic like color palette changes, where just like everyone would look totally different. They
yeah.
they did it a lot in part
In
1,
part
and then
1,
not
yeah.
and then not so much in part 2, not so much in part 3, and then part 4. Like in the last episode we got a little bit of it, but like
They barely do it.
Yeah, it was barely.
we had the one where we had like that like red crazy diamond. That's like the last time I can remember that was like really noticeable. But yeah, I wish we got
and there
that
was
more
a
often.
color
Like it
change
made
in
it
the
really more
Superfly fight
unique.
for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, red crazy diamond was sick looking. I think that's the color it changed to.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Like part 1's animation
Mark.
is really good. It's definitely like really good to just look
Yeah.
at.
They were a lot more creative than I think they are in like part 4 now.
Dude, I can't wait till they use all the budget from part 5.
I would say
You mean the worst part?
I want to say it's more of them being creative, because you know David Pro is always really good with their stuff. Like you get like the stills that you compare to like the manga panels, and it always looks like amazing. I think it's more of just a thing of, I don't know, if like at the time the people that worked in it, maybe they got new people to do Diamond is Unbreakable. That's what I'm assuming is they have more new people working on the team.
I think Diamond is Unbreakable style fits that
It
that
fits the
story.
part.
And I'm sure once Part 5 comes out, Part 5 is going to look way different from
Yeah.
Part 3 and 4. Definitely.
Probably. But like the thing I like the most about the Part 1 anime and just like Part 2 also is the way David Production handles things. You can really tell that they like JoJo a lot.
Yeah,
and there's
definitely.
like all this
I like
attention
that
to
too.
detail.
Because when you think like, what has David Production animated before?
Yeah.
Like Phantom Blood, like nothing else. I'm sure they have done something, but this not.
That's it's one of those things. I guess it makes me appreciate Phantom Blood just like watching it as a viewer is the effort that they put into the part, and to keep it as close to Araki's writing and his ideas, because obviously when they animate things, they change lines, they change how characters say
Sometimes
things
it's
and act.
objectively better though. Like
The way they do everything in Part 1 is just so good. It's really hard to not like Part 1, honestly. Like, when you look at Part 1, there's not a lot I can really complain about. We have the stupid shit. We have the cool shit. We have the absolutely bizarre stuff that makes us love JoJo. And then Part 1 has the horror aesthetic to it. And I think it really fits the part, and it's really cool. It works. It's so good.
Part 1 just works.
We got Ruby, we got Dire Love Train.
Me?
We got a Meti reference in there. We've got Part 1 DOB Ultimate Cars. Everything.
One thing I can say about Part 1 though, it's
Part
Go,
Part
Meti.
1 Dio versus Ultimate Cars isn't a fucking. It's not a fucking fight.
no, not a fight, but
It's a snack bar.
one thing I don't really like about Phantom Blood is that unless you explain it to someone, like what's happening, like if someone just caught it on Toonami, it definitely. It's strange because like we all know, like, oh yeah, that's like 1980s, like it's dated, like it was taking references from like Fist of the North Star and stuff. But when people see it, like I had my friend that has never seen it before, and like we just caught it on Toonami the other night, and I told him, I was like, all right, this is gonna be like pretty bad because it's like it's all like tropes that have been happening for the past like 30 years in a modern style animation that looks like it just came out like a couple years ago, and it's like, oh, I've seen like all of this before, but they don't understand that this was like this is where it came from. So if someone wants to get into it, they have to know what's coming next, like all the other later parts, and they have to understand like that.
Yeah.
It's
Because like you mentioned
it's
before,
old.
Part 3 has that overall, I guess, appeal. Like, and it's also the writing style again. Part 3 has the villain of the week thing where it's like, oh, if I just tune in and watch this episode, I'll probably understand what's going on, because they don't pay attention to a lot of things, I guess, and reference things that happen. It's like, oh, this happened last episode. No, they don't really like focus on that. They just keep going. Where Part 1 is just the continuation of, okay, we're at this point, and then we get to this point, then we have this big fight, then we have this breakdown of this character, then this character dies, and then we have the next thing that goes on, and then it just goes like like that. Part 2 kind of does the same thing, and then I guess Part 3, Part 4. It's more of, well, pretty much after Part 3, when they introduce the stands, it becomes kind of like a villain of the week thing, just in the way they tell the story.
Yeah, villain of the week works though. Like,
it works. It works with JoJo.
Definitely.
It's great, but Part 1 is really good. I definitely think a lot of people overlook it, I guess. I want to say that, because I do see people that say, oh, Part 1 is like their least favorite, or they think it's the worst. I want to go as far as to say
it gets better with time.
It's the worst, because maybe, like, unless you're me and you watch it for the first time and you see it and you're like, holy shit, this is really cool and really good. Because, like I said, it's what hooked me in. Like, I saw the first episode, I saw Dio being crazy, I saw Jonathan getting pissed off at him and shit. I thought it was really cool. There's a lot of people that probably don't like that. Everybody's got different tastes, but it's definitely really important to JoJo. It establishes a lot of things that carry over in JoJo, which is another thing I think a lot of people overlook, because I've had a couple people say, oh, you spoiled Gyro's death for me, but in Part 1, William specifically says that the Zeppelis are there to help the Joestar family line and serve them and, be there for them until it's their time. So it's like we have these things that are established in the first part that carry over into the rest, and I really like that Araki keeps that, those like fundamentals, and he just continues to use it in his writing. Like even now in JoJolion, we have those little tidbits here and there where it just kind of reminds you of like the Part 1 writing style, just how things go, I guess, and how they're executed. It's great.
Yeah.
But anybody have anything else to say?
You watch and read, the better Part 1 gets. The more every time you look back on it, you're like, oh yeah, Part 1.
Yeah, where Part 3 is.
I want to say Part 3 It's like bad.
Anyway,
watch.
we probably shouldn't diverge into part 3 again. We should probably stay.
That'll get its own thing eventually. But if you guys want to see Part 8 podcast next, tell Asuka in the comments down below.
Nope.
And join the Discord.
We are not doing a Part 8 podcast until it's over.
Tell Asuka to go read Part 8 because I want to talk about Part 8 on a video. So go tell him to go do that shit. Yeah, because Part 8 is really good.
I can't read, dude. I just look at the drawings.
How did you get through Part 1 then?
I just watched the anime, dude.
Oh shit, dude. I was gonna say, those drawings really bad.
No, I did read it though.
But
dude, can we do if we do a Part 8 podcast, it's basically gonna be me shitting on the JoJo wiki mods the entire time.
Yeah,
fucking...
Caleb said he wants to say something, but he like fell out. Oh shit, rip.
Technical difficulties again?
No, Caleb just said he wanted to say something.
Because I kind of want to talk about something.
No, go ahead. Okay, there we go. We can hear you now.
Okay, I want to talk about this. All right. So,
okay, sure.
The scene with Dio and everybody with the guns, and you remember that, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so here's Dio on the side. Here's Dio on the side, right? He has a knife. After that, everyone's just all like, man, we have our guns ready. We're cops and all. We should probably shoot him when he's trying to get froggy with us. After that, Dio's all like, oh, Jonathan, I'm about to fucking kill you right now. Let's go. After that's like, oh, we should start shooting him. But then they don't do that yet. After that, Jonathan's dad gets stabbed. And then they're like, yeah, okay, now we shoot. And it's like, they're all posted up ready for it. And no one shot at all. It's like...
That's a scene that doesn't work well when transferred into anime
when it's
format.
like... Yeah, because it's like, okay, so in anime, it seems way slower compared, but it's like,
I don't know. In the panel, you have them like holding the guns in like one panel, and the next panel is like Dio stabbing them, and then they shoot. So it's like, oh.
Yeah. It's like, I guess it's one of those things where it's like, time doesn't
cops
really
in England
work.
just aren't as trigger happy.
They're just like, hey.
They wanted to make sure he was a threat.
We should probably shoot Dio, guys.
Dude, we don't want this going on the report.
It's like,
we don't want a dead Englishman on our hands.
Because he was a good blonde boy.
So the cops mercilessly shot a blue-eyed blonde boy for no reason.
Hey guys, we should probably shoot him now. You know, he's walking up to us. You guys think he's gonna give us a hug or something? You think he'll give us a high five? I don't think he's gonna stab anybody. Oh, he stabbed somebody. Shoot him, guys.
Oh shit!
Shoot
him! Knife!
He's got a knife.
No, they probably just call him mentally ill then.
Dude, my favorite edit of that fucking scene is Dio holding a fucking PSP with Idolmaster on it. Like, I've rejected my humanity.
That's iconic. Cool.
All right, Kami, you want to wrap this up?
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, if you guys want to see us talk about Part 8, go bug Asuka, because I want to talk about Part 8. Just
talk about Part 7.
Part 8 is good.
Part 8 is good. It's not done yet, but as of right now, we're kind of at this middle point, and I hope that it gets off of hiatus as of the time I'm recording this. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video. This goes up on Christmas, so Merry Christmas, guys.
God.
Oh, shit.
Merry Christmas.
So the best way to find Asuka to get him to read Part 8 is to go to Funimation.com/show/Shimonetta and buy a copy of Shimonetta. Just bugs the shit out of him every time.
Wait a moment.
Yeah, go do that. Anybody got any closing statements? Any goodbyes?
Kill me slowly.
Doobie's the best JoJo.
No,
actually,
Dire Love Train. Game Theory.
No, what?
Guys, Danny?
You mean get kicked and thrown in the furnace?
Oh my god.
He deserved it.
Whoa. That was
Yo, is that
I forgot about that.
Crusade reference?
And on that note, good night, folks.